Okie doke. In this screencast, I really wanted to just take a few minutes to go over some tools that I use in my workflow for developing responsive websites. There's a couple out there that I would kind of almost die without. A couple little tools and tricks. Aside from just regular media queries and stuff in your CSS and good clean semantic HTML, um, we do need a couple tools to help us along. And the first one I want to feature is actually this the inspector inside of Chrome. Now, almost every major browser has a little inspector in it nowadays. I prefer Chrome's. I used to be a Firebug guy many years ago, but it's just uh, Firefox is just a little too bulky for me, and it just is slow, and it feels like a slug. So I've really been developing mostly in Chrome here using their inspector. And so I'll definitely lean on just the regular inspector here for targeting elements and using the elements tab here. But what's really cool is inside of this here, and this is just the regular release too. This isn't Canary or anything. This is just regular Chrome. Hit the gear down here and you get into these settings. And this is where you can actually force your viewport size. And in this case, I'm looking at Trivita's corked wine template, which is a great responsive site. And let's say I wanted to use device metrics is what it's called. I can force this window down to that size, and now I can really check out things, how they're handled. Here's kind of like 320 by 480 would be, would be like the old iPhone. Here's a good place to start. So then with this set, you can cancel this and actually do some inspection and actually drill down into the media query that's driving the thing that you're looking at. So this is specific to this viewport size. We're not tricking the browser into being this size. Literally, the viewport is that size. So depending how you have your media queries, in this case, we're using screen and max width, so it's working out great for us. So then you can quickly bounce over to like what I would call, this would be like landscape on an iPhone. So you get that vibe. You can bounce back and forth quickly to see what's going on. So that's one cool little trick. You can cancel it like that. Another thing you can do is when you're using the device metrics, you can, no, not that one. You can get this out to the side, or actually out, this is all the way outside, but you can get that back in there. I'm a little bit of trouble with this here. We're a little slow, but I'm going to choose the side. There. And so when you have the, when you're forcing the metrics, you can have it a little higher so you can actually see more of the page. That's one thing you can do there. So that's kind of helpful. I use this every day pretty much. So I know that if you guys haven't been using device metrics or didn't know it was there, then you'll surely appreciate that little nugget. All day long I use that. Another source too, and thanks to Curtis for chiming in on one of the threads here for one of the screencasts. He was wondering what I did when I bounced to Apple's SDK iOS emulator. And basically, and I'll share all these links with you guys. Basically what you do is you download Xcode, which is like the huge SDK available from Apple to develop web apps and native applications for their devices. But in that, once you download it, and here I've got it installed already, you click on Xcode, and basically to start the emulator, that's pretty much all I use it for. I cancel this, and then I go to Xcode and open developer tool and iOS simulator. So let that load there. And what will come up now is I'm actually, the last testing I did was on a Retina device, Retina iPhone. And so you can actually change this here by going to hardware. We see that we have an iPad, iPad Retina, iPhone. We have the Retina 3.5 and a Retina 4-inch, so iPhone 4 and iPhone 5. And so with this, you just basically come in here and you can throw in your address, or even I'll grab this address here and we can pretend like we're doing some testing here. So then I'm actually loading this. Oops, that didn't work. Oh, we are not wanting to search. There. So we'll load that in the browser, and of course this is seeing this page as a mobile device, which is great. So I can do some good testing here for sure, make some changes, come out and refresh, and that's going to be some pretty quick development. Another thing that's cool with this is the you can actually launch Safari, and then once Safari is loaded, you can go to the Develop tab, and your iPhone simulator will be there, so then you can actually inspect elements that are inside of this emulated iPhone. So I come in here and select an element, and then we can do some testing here and some debugging with the inspector that comes with Safari right here in place, which is really cool. So that's how you pull that off. If you have, if you have an iPhone or an iPad connected to your machine, it will show up in this list as well in Safari's Develop tool. So you could have an iPhone or an iPad connected to your machine and inspect elements on that as well. So that's pretty nifty. One of my favorite new apps of all time right now is BrowserStack. And so this application is a monthly membership and is priceless as well. So here I am. I'll do some, or just a real quick preview of this application in action. Basically, you can emulate almost every device known to mankind. And so it's just emulate. It's a little slow, that's one thing, but it's come in real handy for me as well. So say I wanted to check out a Android, the same site on an Android device real quick, I could go do that. You can see all the choices here. I do my Windows old IE testing here, so I can bounce all the way back to IE6 if I wanted to. Not that I would, but if I wanted to. I mean, we do all of our IE8 testing here for sure. So this is really handy, and then these tools also have the ability to do some debugging as well here once you're logged in. So that's a cool site. Another one I wanted to point you to is a viewport resizer, which is really fun for when you want to flip through different sizes. So I'll give you the link for this. This is just a bookmarklet. You can actually come down and create your own bookmarklet depending on the devices you want. So here it is in action over here. So I come in and hit this resizer bookmarklet, and I made one that had just the basic iOS device dimensions, and then yeah, that's pretty much what I have. And then in between those dimensions, I just lean on resizing the browser or testing in other viewport sizes. But we see here, we just click this and then click it again. We can get to mobile and landscape. Here we are at 600. So that's going to be like the iPad mini or just other smaller tablets. Then we get up into the regular tablet view, you know. So you can customize these. You can even enter in your own dimensions if you wanted. Pretty cool little tool. So you'll get links to that as well, and you can just bail out of it here. The only thing with this is that it doesn't work under a secure connection. So if you're like in the cart or something like that, in a checkout on BC, or you have the user in a secure area under the SSL, this little plugin won't work. And so that's that's a quick run through of some of the tools that I've been using when it comes to developing responsive sites. So like I said, I'll provide these links for you guys out there in the post, and hope you enjoy.